You ever feel like you want to just drop everything and try something completely new for your career? My guest, Todd Kelley, felt exactly that way a couple of years ago when we first met. And guess what? I'm going to give you the spoiler alert right up front. He did it. He left a six-figure job as a financial advisor, and he left to go sell lavender. Yes, lavender. He and his wife launched a company here in Oregon called Suzi's Lavender, and they make their living today selling face and skincare products made from, yes, lavender. So I love Todd's story so much. I asked him to come here and talk with us today. If you're someone who's sitting there thinking, I need something totally new, you've got to listen to Todd. Todd, thank you so much for coming on board. I'm so glad to hear from you and hear about everything that's unfolded since we last talked.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny.
Well, so you and I talked a little bit before this conversation about why you made that decision and the critical steps that were involved to making that a success. So I definitely want to dive right in there. But the obvious and very first question is, what the heck made you want to make such a dramatic pivot in your career?
Yeah, it was one of those things you really thought about a long time, 5 years ago, that you'd be working in a business selling lavender when you were in financial services. But what it boiled down to is you have to figure out internally, I'm done with this.
Right.
I've had enough of this bullshit that was going on where I was at, and I was done. And that's where you just make that decision. You're going to make a change.
I'm not going to take it anymore.
I'm not going to take it anymore. And that's exactly what I did. I said, I'm done. I'm going to walk away. We had a business that had done pretty well in 2017. We decided to say, what would happen if we both put all of our efforts behind it? And that's what we did.
So what specific steps did you take when you decided it was time?
Mm-hmm. And that's a great question, because you do need to think through this a little bit. You don't want to make it complicated. But the first thing is, I wanted to make sure we could eat. That's important to me.
That's important. I'd put that on my list.
Yes. And so we don't want to gloss over that, but we want to make sure we have a plan that says, hey, here's how we can actually cover the expenses, because guess what? Our business couldn't cover our expenses right up front. We knew it would as we move forward. The other thing is you've got to figure out, if you're doing something totally different like I did, what exactly are you going to do? What are you going to be the responsibilities inside your organization? Because you're basically creating a position for yourself, which if you've never done that before, it's hard. I'm telling you right now, it's hard.
It's hard even when you have a clear roadmap.
It's hard when you even have a clear roadmap. And then the other thing you need to do is say, okay, how am I going to evaluate all this when we're done? Right now, we're coming up on about 9 months since I've been here, and there's some good things that I've done. But we've got a huge campaign going on online, as well as with our CBD/hemp line. And we've got to make sure this works, because if it doesn't, we've just spent a lot of money and we're in the hole. But that's a risk of being an entrepreneur. And we know that.
Was your plan a napkin? Was your plan, encyclopedia, binder? Like,
No.
What the plan look like?
No, they make it way too complicated. What you want to do is you can lay it out on one page. All I did is I said, okay, here's 3 months, 6 months, a year out. And that's all the further I wanted to go. Because frankly, beyond that, we don't have a clue. You're doing something totally new.
Right.
So what we did is we just said, okay, 3 months, here's where we expect to be. 6 months, here's where we expect to be. 9 months, is where we expect to be. We're at 9 months right now. I saved the money aside. That worked out great. That worked out very, very well. The online piece of ours, guess what? It's not working as quickly as we'd like it to, but we know we're coming up on the busiest season. And you just have to evaluate it, but you have certain markers that you take a look at and say, am I where I want to be?
Right. Is this working?
Is this working? And that's what you want to know. Because I kind of live by a mantra. It's HHA, healthy, happy, aligned. Am I healthy? Am I happy? And am I aligned with my personal intrinsic values? And if I stick to that, I'm in good shape.
Are you HHA right now?
I'm pretty HHA. I'm a little stressed out right now. But yeah, other than that.
It's Friday.
It's abnormal if I wanted
on Friday.
Yeah. But that's how.
Oh, go ahead.
That's how we did it. I've done something many times called a one-page business plan. It's basically that. Don't make it complicated. People want to draw out these incredibly complicated diagrams and charts and notebooks full of stuff. No, you're going to look at it maybe once, twice. We check in with it about once a month, every quarter. nobody checks into a notebook again. It's nobody does
Well,
it.
and you're going to learn things along the way that you're like, oh, I never even thought of that, and reshape and reshape, and
Right.
that's really what I've done. I mean, I actually didn't really even intend for JobJenny.com to become a real business, so I definitely didn't have a big business plan. I do treat it like a real business today, mind you. So you've got a plan, and now you need to take action, which I think a lot of people get stuck there. Like, how did you make that shift from the piece of paper to the actual taking the leap?
At some point in your life, you're going to have to say, I am done. And here's where I was. I said, if I don't do this now, am I going to regret it a year, 5 years down the road? The answer was yes, because I wanted to know what we could do together with our business.
Yes.
That was my jump off the cliff moment.
Me too.
And we just said, guess what? Here's what we're going to do. If it doesn't work, we both have skills that we can use. I can get another job, but I didn't want a job. I wanted something that I felt really, really good about. Was that moment where you just said, done. I've got to see if this will work. I'm walking away. And of course, the BS that was going on where I was actually helped the situation. It was a forced me into that decision moment.
Okay. All right. You mentioned the importance. This is one of your other critical steps that you mentioned to me when we talked earlier about staying positive.
Yes.
What happens when the best laid plans, even when you're taking the actions, you said the internet business maybe isn't going quite as you wanted to, like how do you keep yourself motivated and positive when things are going pretty tough?
That's a great question because it's hard. For example, it's basically the two of us. So I have to surround myself with people who are thinking the same way that I do. If I surround myself with people that are negative, bad, and I've got some key friends that I can call. So friends are huge, family's huge. Your partner, my wife, having her around is huge. But you've got to surround yourself with positivity. And I don't want to be Pollyannish about this and just have rose-colored glasses on. But you've got to surround yourself with people you want to be more like. And I don't want to be around people that are complaining, whining, and bitching all the time. I want to be around people who are getting the job done. And so that's what I do. I made a very conscious effort not to hang out. Because I've got one friend, he's negative. I don't like to hang around with him. If I go drink beer with him, great. He can be as negative as he wants. I don't care. That's kind of where you do that. You complain a little bit.
But you don't want to have a business discussion with him.
No, it would be awful because I tell him what was going on. He goes, oh my God, you guys are going to lose your shirts. Yeah,
yep.
We lose our shirts, but I can always say, I tried.
Right. What about the benefits? You don't have benefits. You're going to.
Don't even get me. You can get benefits. Trust me.
Right. I know. Oh, I know. So for you or for you and your wife, what's been the most rewarding part so far?
The most rewarding part for me so far has been the fact that we can make decisions that are based on our intrinsic values to help the people we know we're working with. That's it. If I'm not helping people, I really don't want to do it because that's who I am at the core.
Yep.
And that's very, very important to me. I know you feel the same way. We've talked about it.
Well, that's my whole job. So, I mean, and it's why it's my whole job. So I hear you on that one.
So if I can do that and I can make a living, put a little money away for retirement and lay all those things out in a way that makes sense to my partner and I, my wife, we're in good shape. If I find out that, hey, that's not going to work, that's okay. I will never, ever look in the mirror and say, boy, you should have tried that. We tried it. It didn't quite work out. Life goes on. No,
I'm definitely the family member that everyone's like, oh, there she goes again. But it's all worked out. It's all worked out. So to recap, the 3 critical steps that you're saying, if you plan to drop everything from your 6-figure corporate job or your 5-figure corporate job and make a significant pivot into something, maybe an entrepreneurship, have a plan, but don't make it too complicated. Take action because you can't sit there and look at that piece of paper forever and expect it to work. And then stay positive because, as we say, the shit will hit the fan from time to time. I love this conversation. I love your business, and I want to point out that that's Suzi's Lavender.com, correct?
Correct.
We'll have a link at the bottom of the video. If you liked the video, please say like, and if you'd like to subscribe to the Job Jenny YouTube channel and hear future episodes, please be sure and subscribe. Todd, thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks, Jenny.